Hey lady, I'm Jamie and you are listening to the podcast for the modern businesswoman, the Lady CEO. Welcome to my world, where business gets to be fun, aligned, and feel damn good. If you're ready to shatter your glass ceiling, embody your inner CEO, up-level your empire, and to make more money online, then I want you to know you are totally in the right place. Between inspiring guest interviews and saucy solo sessions, I'll be covering the skills, systems, and strategies you need to absolutely kill it in your business. All spiced up with a dash of woo, of course. Now, are you ready for today's episode? Let's get to it. This is totally not the topic that I had planned for today's podcast. I had this whole idea mapped out, and then this morning I was listening to actually a podcast episode from another business coach, and if I'm honest, I found myself a little bit triggered. I feel like that's a trend. I feel like my new trend is listening and seeing other things happening like in the industry that I'm in, and then feeling triggered by them, and then feeling like I need to talk about it. So, I'm just going to roll with that because it seems to be working, and I'm getting the most amazing feedback from everyone on my episodes lately. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much. I so appreciate everyone who takes the time to, number one, actually listen to these episodes, because for a little while there, it really felt like I was just talking to myself, which is, a whole new kettle of fish. And that's probably, the topic of another podcast. But I also so appreciate the people who take the time to then start up the conversations with me over on Instagram. I absolutely love talking to you all and continuing the conversations that we start over here in these episodes. And I actually would really particularly love for this topic today to be continued, because this is a big one, right? So to give a bit of background, the coach that I was listening to this morning was talking about how there is like this trend at the moment for particularly business coaches. I'm always being triggered by people talking about business coaches. This might be something that I need to do some inner work on. But anyway, for the time being, it's proving to give me really amazing content. So I'm a roll with it. But anyway, she was talking about this trend that business coaches have at the moment where there appears to be a lot of talk about energy, and how you just need to be in the energy and show up in the energy. Now, I know that you have all heard me talk about this. You have all heard me talk about showing up in that energy of the person who already has it all. I literally have an entire guided visualization that I created to help you get into this energy. So shameless plug, if you haven't downloaded that, you need to go to my Instagram, click the link in my bio, and go and get that visualization, because it is absolutely amazing. So there are obviously also a lot of coaches who are talking about the same thing that I do. It's because it makes sense, and to me it's because it matters. Now, from this coach's perspective on her podcast, she's basically saying like, yeah, okay, energy is important, but it isn't the be all and end all, and it isn't what makes the difference. The strategy is what makes the difference. Now, the funny thing is that I actually agree with her. I actually agree that you can't have one without the other. And so that is really why I wanted to talk about this topic today, because I feel like with everything, everyone's always going black or white. And I get it. It's about being polarizing. Being polarizing is one massive way that you can stand out on social media. And that's fine. But what we need to accept is that often you can't have one without the other, and they both need to go together like a puzzle piece to get the results. So what I'm tired of seeing and hearing and people talking about is that strategy is where it's at. That you can show up in whatever energy and it doesn't matter, because as long as you have the best kick-ass fucking strategy, you will make money. And then on the complete opposite end, it's like, no, like just do what feels good and just show up in a way that feels good and post when it feels good and all of that, where it gets very wishy-washy. Now, I get it. Some people really operate amazingly from that place of flow. But in my opinion, you need to have the strategy and the flow. The strategy with the wishy-washy, if you will. You cannot build a business that's going to be super successful without the two pieces together. And this is an area that, I mean, if you could see me right now, I'm literally like, you probably hear it in my voice, and my hands are going, and I'm so passionate about this because for me, this has been the missing piece to the puzzle the whole way along. My whole business journey has been like this flip-flop between these two spaces of just being so focused on strategies that I hated and that didn't feel good and that weren't aligned with me, but they were strategies that worked, and so I did them, to these times, and I haven't spoken a lot about this, but I've been through a lot of times where I was just wishy-washy and I wasn't doing anything because I was like, no, I need to just embrace the feminine and embrace the flow and stop doing so much and just go with the flow and do what feels good. And guess what? That doesn't work either. You need to bring the two together. And for me, when it comes to strategy particularly, strategy needs to feel good. I do not agree with anyone saying that it is all just 100% about strategy and that it doesn't matter what strategy. The energy that you show up in with that strategy absolutely makes a difference. Think about the last time you purchased something from someone on the internet. It's completely different when you go into a store. I want you to think about something or someone that you've purchased from on the internet. Why? What drew you to that person? What drew you to handing over your credit card details to that person? I can guarantee that it has something in some way to do with their vibe, right? The whole phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe, it is true. It is about how you show up, what energy you show up in, the energy that you emit, literally down to the energy that you are in when you create your content. People can sense it, especially in nowadays where we are just bombarded by content. It is so easy to call the BS, to see the people who aren't showing up authentically, and to see the people who are literally just putting out second-rate content because they feel like they have to continue to show up even when they feel like they have nothing to say. Yeah, sure, it's about being consistent, but who determines what consistency means to you? Who determines how many times a week you show up? You determine it because you make the rules in your business. Now, I'm probably going to sound like I'm just going to be like the classic Switzerland probably in a lot of my episodes, and especially when I go off on these like random tangenty rants. And I'm going to blame it on being a Libra, right? So for anyone who isn't really into astrology, I am a Libra. Our sign is the scales, right? It's all about balance. And I see, it's like, I'm going to call it like a magic superpower, right? And I know that people who know me really well will know that this is my superpower. So I have this, I'm going to call it a gift, okay? Because it's pretty amazing to be able to see both sides of everything and fully understand where someone is coming from. So when I hear this coach particularly talking about how, strategy is important and it doesn't matter about energy, I can see where she's coming from. And I'm not saying that I don't agree that strategy is important. I'm saying that it's not the whole story. It is not the final puzzle, right? And it's the same with the people coming from the energetics perspective. Oh my God, I can't talk. When people talk about just the energetics of business, obviously, I also agree. That's so, so, so important. But do I think that that is the whole puzzle? No, it's not. It's because we need the both together. So I have this, I'm rolling with it being a gift because I really think it is. It's pretty cool to be able to always see both sides of an argument. And in some cases, there are definitely going to be people who aren't going to resonate with me because of it. But I'm not here to be completely left or right-sided. I'm not here to be polarizing. I'm here to call things the way that I see them, and I'm here to share my opinion. And I'm here for the people that resonate with the gray, right? I am like the gray matter between everything in the industry that I see. And I know that there are other coaches out there who are talking about very similar things to me and who are beautifully blending the two things as they are intended to be blended. So I want to talk about the concept of intuitive business. That's right, intuitive business, just like intuitive eating, where you listen to your body and you do what feels right. This concept applies to everything. I mean, it shouldn't even be deemed intuitive eating or intuitive business. It should just bloody be life, because this is how we all should be operating, in a space that feels good and feels right and feels aligned. But unfortunately, and I say this so many times, I feel like once a week I say this on my Instagram stories, our bodies, our hearts, our souls, our guts, whatever it is that you feel like you tune into, it knows what the right path is. It knows what the right food is to eat. It knows what the right strategy is to use in your business. It knows what the right thing to say is. It is our brain that mixes up the signals. It is our brain that takes us out of this trusting and into this space where we are questioning everything. Now, that is powerful. Sometimes it's obviously powerful to always know to question things. And I'm not saying to not let the brain take over and to question things. What I'm saying is to learn how to tune into this intuition to make the right decisions for you. This is how I do business. I love strategy. I would not have the business that I have. I would not have learned what I've learned. I would not have the community that I have if I didn't employ strategy. Everything that I do has strategy behind it. But at the same time, now, after so many years of fighting this, now I only work with strategies that feel good to me. Does that mean that sometimes I take a break because I'm not feeling good? Yeah, it does. It does. I'm not hard on myself. It means that sometimes I do take some downtime. I do listen to my body. And you know what? My community continues to grow during that time. We are literally brought up in a world where we essentially are taught to always be looking outside of ourselves. We go to school to learn. We go to university to learn. Most of us are investing in new courses or coaches to learn, right? But what we're not ever doing or ever being taught is how to look within us. Because I really truly believe, like I've already said, that we already have all of the answers that we need within us. We just need to learn how to unlock them. We need to learn how to tune into it and how to decide what feels right for us and what feels good for us. Yeah, business is hard work, but it also gets to be fun and it also gets to feel good. And if you're doing something that doesn't feel good, it is not in alignment with you and it is probably not going to work out the way that you envision it's going to work out. But at the same time, you can't be just willy-nilly posting or being on your Instagram stories or whatever it is, trying to build a business or sell people into your programs or whatever it is that you offer without any sort of strategy behind it. It's literally like, and I know this gets said all the time, but it's literally like throwing pasta at the wall and hoping that something sticks. It doesn't work. Now, when it comes to content strategy, I also have a very different approach to this that I know will make some marketing managers / social media managers absolutely cringe, because I actually stopped batching a great deal of content. And the reason that I did this was because I would sit in this energy when I felt creative and I would create all of this content. And then I would find like a week or two down the track that it just didn't feel right and it didn't feel aligned with me. And so then I'd be like, oh, do I post this half-assed, not feeling good post just to post? Or do I just skip today and see how I feel tomorrow? And if I'm honest, neither worked well for me. I did both and neither worked well. What's working really well for me now is to batch some content when I feel creative, but then the other stuff is really just what comes to me in the moment. I'm never stressing on myself that I've got to post and so I've got to think of something. But it is all done very strategically in that I do have content pillars. I do have certain topics that I talk about. I do make sure that I've got call to actions. I am actively posting on Reels for the purpose of reaching new audiences and reaching new people, because that is an amazing way to reach people at the moment. I do dabble in random mini ad campaigns, and it's literally just about experimenting with these things and seeing what feels right and what works for me. See, you need to be a scientist in business. Instead of being out there all the time looking for the new latest U-Boot strategy, while tuning into yourself and while learning what feels good to you, I highly recommend that you just start playing and experimenting. Find what works best for you. Now, by this stage of the episode, I'm sure that you are sitting there thinking like, holy shit, Jamie, what the actual fuck do you do then? As a coaching client, if I came to you, what would you do for me if it's all about me doing what feels right for me? Okay, I totally hear you. So here's the thing. This is why I've invested so much in my own business coaching and in trialing all of these different strategies and techniques, so that I have the background knowledge to talk strategy with you. I teach you how you step into that version of yourself that already has everything that you need to have. I teach you how you bring that energy into every day. I teach you how to tune into what feels good, what feels aligned, how to say no to the things that make you feel like shit because they don't belong in your business, as well as teaching you how to implement the strategies that feel freaking good for you and for your business. Because like I've said all along, the whole entire point of this episode, if you haven't gotten it already, and if you haven't, like, you need to be DMing me, because it means that I am not speaking clearly and that needs to be fixed. But if you haven't already like picked up what I'm putting down, it is that you need strategy just as much as you need energy. The way that you show up, the way that you sell, the way that you're posting, it all matters and it all makes a difference. This is the secret sauce. Everyone's out there always looking for the secret sauce, the new magic pill, the new freaking, magical strategy that is going to take them to the next level, to their first level. Like wherever you're at in business, it is not until you start blending the two of these together in the way that they are intended to be blended. This is how we are intended to live our lives. This is how we are intended to build our businesses, with strategy that feels good, that is aligned, and that works for us and works for the direction that our business is going. I've always really resonated with the phrase, the woo and the do, because I feel like that just perfectly summarizes everything that I'm about. I am so into the crystals, the energy, the manifesting. I love to work with NLP-based practices with clients to help them work through limiting beliefs, to help them completely unplug from limiting beliefs and to just take action. But at the same time, I don't believe that you can just do all of this inner work, do all of this manifesting, do the meditating and not take action. The action and the action that you take matters. It needs to be aligned, it needs to feel good, and it needs to be strategic. This is what I stand for. This is everything that I'm about. And this is what I am so, so passionate in helping my clients work through, because I have too many people coming to me that are either so far one way or so far the other way, or they're doing things just because someone told them to. I've been there and it doesn't work. I promise you, you will not build the business that you are trying to be built. Literally cannot talk today. You will not build the business that you are trying to build by just doing something because someone told you, by just going in a direction because someone told you. Become the scientist, trial the different techniques, implement different strategies, tune into yourself and your intuition, and always ask yourself, what feels good to me? What feels aligned to me? And a question that I really, really love is, what is the obvious next step for me? You already have all of this within you. You just need to start flexing the muscle and tuning into that to create everything that you are working on creating. So at the beginning of this episode, I said that I wanted this to be another episode that we continue to talk about over on my Instagram. So I want you to really think about everything that I've said today, and I would love you to drop me a DM on this topic. I want to know where you are at in your business with your strategies versus your energy management. Are you in a space where you're doing things because a coach told you, or are you in a space where you're doing things that just feel good and feel flowy, but they're not really getting you anywhere? Have you noticed these coaches out there that are, very black and white, very one-sided and not blending the two things together? Or have you noticed other people who are really talking about things in the same way that I do? Because I obviously would love to be connecting with other people who share the same values as me and share the same insights and same views. And most importantly, where do you sit in all of this? What is your opinion? Do you agree that it needs to be blended together, or are you very far left or very far right? I really would love to know, because I love having these conversations and I love getting to know everyone more. And I also love to know where you need most support in all of this, because what I find is that people are either very, like I said, one way or the other way, and they need to be put back in balance. The all elusive balance, the thing that we are all striving towards in one way, shape, or form in our lives. Balance, because that is literally what it is all about. Now, if you're sitting there and you're like, holy shit, Jamie, yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is what my business is missing. This is what I need in my life. I currently have spaces to take on one-on-one clients. There is an application form in the link in my bio on Instagram. And very exciting, I haven't announced this anywhere yet, but soon I have a new offer dropping. It will be one-on-one coaching with me, but done in a completely different type of container that, if I'm honest, it's not my idea. It's not an original idea, because no idea is original, but I saw this idea and I was like, boom, like that is what I needed in my life when I first launched my business. So more on that soon. Watch this space. I'm super, super excited, but it's going to be still one-on-one, but done, just in a really different way. It is very out of the box thinking, but I think it's going to be perfect for so many people. especially those of you who struggle to commit to calls, because from talking to a few people, I know that actually jumping on one-on-one calls with people can be difficult sometimes. So anyway, watch this space because that will be dropping in the next couple of weeks. But for the time being, I have one-on-one spaces open, link in my bio. Also, don't forget to go and download my 10-minute guided visualization. The link is also in my bio, because the way to really figure out what strategy, what method, what the obvious next step is for you is to tune into the energy of your highest self, to meet your highest self and to get guidance from your highest self, and then to step into and fully embody that energy. And that is what this visualization is all about. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I absolutely love recording these episodes for you. Don't forget to come and say hi and continue this conversation over on my Instagram at Jamie Lee White. And of course, share this podcast with someone you know needs to hear it. I cannot wait to share more gold with you next week.